May Tuamankala, and I was incarcerated at Perryville Women's Prison for DUI. When I was sentenced to 3 years, I thought that was a lifetime. I thought about all the opportunities I'd miss, all the family gatherings I'd miss, and most importantly to me at the time was my college education. It took me up until the moment I was sentenced by the judge that I realized the devastation of all these things I'd missed out on. I've always dreamt of being an activist and to fight for the values I believe in. I know there's an injustice in the prison system, and I sought out insight from the women incarcerated with me. Many were mothers wishing to get back with their children, wishing to get help and better their lives so they can be better mothers. Others were young adults like me, wishing they could find a way to redeem themselves to their families and society. Most women in Perryville worked hard to better themselves, whether it was through completing programs, finding a higher paid job, even if it was brutal work, finding God, finding forgiveness in others and themselves, or going through months or years of classes to achieve their GED. For me, I pushed my mind and body to the limit and worked at a program called Fire Crew, where we went through tough training to become wildland firefighters. The job required us to stand for 12 hours with 45 pounds on our back and a 20-pound chainsaw, all while dragging brush and carrying trees outside of the fire line. We were also punished with burpees if we were to break any of the rules or if we couldn't keep up with the crew during the hikes. One time, one of my crewmates, who was an older lady, couldn't keep up with us, and she was required to do over 300 burpees right after the strenuous hike. My first week of being on Fire Crew, I got my arm stuck in a chipper, and my whole crew came running and pulled the drums apart with their bare hands. At that life-threatening moment, I was thinking redemption was more important than my own safety. I stayed devoted to that crew for over a year. My mindset didn't differ from many of the women I was with. But despite all of our work we put into improving our lives, we still had no opportunity to earn additional time off our sentences. That's because Arizona is one of the only states that does not provide people in prison with earned release credits. This year, 2 bills have been proposed that will be a first step toward providing people earned release credits. HB 2808 and HB 2753 would allow people to earn additional time off their sentence if they participate in programming. They will give people a chance to come home sooner instead of serving a mandatory 85% of their sentence. While I was incarcerated, each day felt like a missed opportunity and a burden on my family. While I was incarcerated, I found out from my family that both my mom and my dad were laid off, and they still had to support me financially by paying like $200, which they didn't have, just to keep me fed and, good. I know that allowing people to earn time off their sentence would impact so many families in a positive way. I believe people who are incarcerated should have a chance at redemption and should be given tools to help them prosper in community. I'm asking you to reach out to your lawmakers and ask them to support earned release credit legislation. Together, let's reform our prison system. Oh, gosh, that was fun.